Welcome this afternoon, evening, or morning to our listeners here. My name is Cade Curtis, your tour guide for Learning from Friends. It's a pleasure to have you in with us here today. It's going to be a fun adventure of getting to know a little bit more about myself, because I am speaking with one of I'm going to call him my closest friend that we have here on this walk of life that we live in every day. But it's different because I am actually going to be recording this virtually. I have not used Zoom to record yet in this manner. Every interview that you heard so far is in person. So this will be, Garrison, you get to be the very first recording a digital format for me. So before we get there, as we all know, my mom sends me these awesome quotes every single day in order to kind of say, hey, how you doing? How's your morning? How's things kind of going? And so I'm going to read her little segment here of quotes from my mom. So the quote today comes from Linda Hogan. Suddenly, all my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands. Beautiful quote. I think it's phenomenal thinking about that. I'm going to let that settle in. I'm not going to make commentary about it because I want each person has their own interpretation. I want you to just kind of sit and think on that one for today. So thank you, Mom, as always, for your continual support and everything that you do. And now providing a little bit of extra little help for the podcast here. So for today's topic is on this episode, the previous one that we just heard before, this is kind of with Eden. This is a continuation kind of in a way of the topic of friendship because of Eden is my longest known friend. This episode, I'm speaking with my closest friend, Garrison. All friendships are important. Like every single person around me that I've been lucky to call a friend in my life, each one plays their own different role. Each one plays their own part to it. And so this is just kind of one of those podcasts that I wanted to record in order to explain a little bit more about myself and the importance of friendship over time. So with Garrison, the ironic part is you and me have the most face-to-face time of all my friends that I've spent, but we're doing this virtually. So sign of the times here. Gotta love it. Welcome, Garrison, to the podcast.
Thanks a lot. Glad to be here.
So our listeners have no clue who you are. They have explain yourself and if you had a Wikipedia page, what's your quick summary?
Like Cade said, we've known each other for a very long time. I work in special education in a high school right now. I've worked in education most of my life, starting with teaching English and Peace Corps in Ukraine and moving in when I came back, also working in that in Georgia and now in Iowa since I live here now. A lot of different things. I can talk about a lot of things movies, TV shows, books. I like languages a lot. I learn languages for fun.
Mr. Linguistics over here.
Yes. Working on going into speech pathology at some point, trying to get those classes out of the way. But yeah, I like a lot of things. I like languages. I like to cook. Cooking's a lot of fun. I like to relate things, different experiences I've had to food and whatnot, that I've had. Yeah, that
hits the nail pretty well on the head there for giving us a little bit of introduction here. Because again, we're still in our 30s. It's still everything's still kind of early for it. Garrison,
yep.
How do we know each other?
So we know each other because our moms taught together, before they were pregnant with us, but also while they were pregnant with us, and then even well after we were kids and into out of high school. Been really close friends for a long time, and so you're easily my oldest friend. There's no one else who is in the running.
Yeah, because Eden was born before you, she kind of just has that longest known because of, and we really didn't actually meet each other right away in terms of it. It was probably around 1 or 2
Probably.
After, because I'm sure, because your family lived in another county and would kind of come over. I basically met Eden pretty quickly in life because of our parents were so close together and lived nearby. And that's why it's different relationships here, but it's that whole, we have known each other really since in utero, if you really want to go that far back. I'm sure we've heard conversations back and forth from other, as our parents taught. But with that, what is one of your earliest memories?
So like my earliest memory of, it's both like one of my earliest memories, period, but also like it's one of the earliest memories of us. Like I remember visiting your house when we were about 3 or something, like, and we were like just playing in this sandbox. It was it was fun. Like we were just kind of messing
being
around
little
and
kids.
Everything. Yeah, being little kids. And like suddenly, like you're like, hey, like, do you want a sand pie? Like, sure. And like immediately get a whole like fistful of sand like in my face.
And the rest is history there. The rest is history. Which leads me to my next question of, how in the world have we not killed each other so far? We've made it this long in life, but we haven't killed each other yet. I think that's pretty impressive.
That is a very that's a very good question, because I sometimes don't know. Like that's like as much as we've fought like over like whatever, like stupid stuff. Like,
we like to get under each other's skin and like poke at each other, and we're very competitive in that nature. Yes. And I think a lot of that comes back to that sand pie there in the sandbox. But yeah, it's always curious. We really, if people are walking from around us and don't really know what's going on, it's like we're a bickering old couple, like an old married couple of like yelling at each other and tearing into each other over the littlest of things. And you would think, okay, next thing you know, this person's going to deck the other one. But it's like afterwards we walk away and it goes, oh, that was great. Hey, that was fun. See you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Or no hard feelings. Yeah. As soon as like it's done, it's done. Like we don't hold on to it. Well, I don't know why that is.
We'll hit each other a bit, but
yeah, we have fought. We have physically fought a couple times. Like nothing intense, Yeah,
nothing too intense. Though I do think I threw you into a bathroom or into a bathtub.
You threw another one of our friends into a bathtub at my house. You threw another, but you did Taekwondo and you did hip toss a lot of people. A fact that you can't visually see it, or if you don't know it, Garrison, you're about what, 5'2", 5'3"? Like,
yeah, 5'2".
Yeah, yes. Garrison is a shorter individual, has a very low center of gravity, and is very well on his feet in order to keep balance. So knocking him over, or if you're wanting to try and tackle him of some sort, is really hard. He has he could do sit-ups for days. Back in the day, I remember like in gym, we were doing the physical fitness test and he just doing sit-ups for days and keeps going.
That's funny because I don't remember that, and I couldn't do that now.
No,
but
you used to.
That's funny.
So going back to school, because school that is mm-hmm. what has made us really who we are as individuals. Is we were teacher kids. What was it like mm-hmm. for you being a teacher's kid? And be aware, your mom and my mom are listening, so they're going to hear this.
I would be very like if my mom listened to a podcast. Like I don't know if she's ever listened.
She's listened to this one. She's listened to this podcast before. So good. Your mom has listened to the podcast. Good. So be prepared.
She had listened to one at least. So like she'll hear this. Like I don't think I'm going to be saying anything that she hasn't heard before. But excuse me. But so like growing up as a teacher's kid, like I don't know that it really like there wasn't a lot that I was like thinking about, like, oh, like I guess people look at me differently because I'm the teacher's kid. Like, Macedonia was kind of like like
it was a smaller
it
community.
wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a smaller community.
At the time.
It wasn't a big deal. But like it was a little different for me because like I went to school out of district.
Both of us did. Like we were
that's
both.
right.
You were from another county though. I was coming from a border, but it almost could be another county whenever back in that time period, especially when we couldn't drive. We were,
so far
we
away.
were prisoners to what was going on with if your mom had to work on something for school or my mom was working on something for school. We had to stay there. We had to go through that.
Yep.
So I thought it was neat being a teacher's kid, getting to kind of see the behind the scenes stuff that's going on in the school. You couldn't get away with anything though.
No, because all the teachers knew you.
Exactly.
Like, knew exactly who you were. And like all they had to do was walk up to one of our moms and say, like, listen.
Yes, it's a kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because we did get a couple little extra privileges of going down the hallway and we could not say get away with things, but in the afternoons we were able to get away with a lot of different stuff that we normally couldn't. And we were able to get to places early. If there was some event happening, we could get in there before it was starting. Or if there was a deal going on at the book fair, we got to go into the book fair, get a discount from the book fair, or getting the first look of buying something. So if there was going to be a popular book, we knew we could get it first. But those are little perks. But I think in my opinion, this is just my opinion, being before school and after school really is what made our relationship kind of like bond.
Yeah, it really was, like, especially like after school, because like I remember like while our moms were in like faculty meetings or whatnot, we would like watch Power Rangers, or we would
Pokemon.
Play with play Pokemon, watch Pokemon, like play with Legos, like whatever.
There's really cool blocks that they were some weird off-brand like Lego kind of ish ideas that we built like all these model cars with, and then little towers and stuff. And those were fun. I don't remember what they were called. Connects. I still have them. They were like Connects, but they were like some weird off-brand thing. But they weren't Connects, they weren't Legos. I still have them. But that was a big bonding point for us. We would sit there and we would play with some ball, like a rolling ball that we would just kind of pass. We would sit down on the floor and we would hit it back and forth to each other on the floor, but it was who could get it past the other one, almost like playing like Pong in some ways it fashions. And then we would go outside, and remember the year that we thought we found dinosaur bones? Yeah. And it wound up being a series of rocks, but little things like that. We got to play on the playground after school, and we may have not could be on the big swing during the day, but we could go to any playground at that point after school.
Yeah, we would just walk around like playing whatnot when, like, especially during like pre or post planning. Like we would just be hanging around it when our moms were like having us work.
That's the downside of being a teacher's child. Any of y'all that know this is you are free labor whenever you're at school to have to move stuff or get it around during the summer, especially if you're moving classes, or if something needs to get tore down. If you want to go home, you have to do that in order to go home, because you're at the will of your parent.
Yep.
But to be honest here, we were on two different levels of IQs. You have a much higher IQ than I do. And that's me being honest here. You do have a higher IQ. If we did an IQ test, you were in the gifted program. I was in the very mediocre standard child's group. So we never really actually, I don't think until maybe once or twice in elementary school, we were in the same classes. I think maybe once or twice. In high school, only whenever we were in band class, in middle school and high school, we were even in a band class together? No, in 7th grade we were.
No.
We're 7th grade. Were you on 7A?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7th grade.
Yeah, we were both in 7A.
That was the only time that we had band together. And then
because I was on the drum line. Yeah. So we had our own.
We had your own different class. You had your own separate thing. But we had one English class you transferred into. Senior year. In 5th grade, I had one class with you. I had one class that I transferred into halfway through the year. It was you're the honors class. Yes.
Yeah.
I got transferred to halfway through the year, but that is the only, so less than 5 times, less than a handful of times that we had a class together. So
yeah,
really, for some people, that really should have been a divide for us. How do you think it wasn't? What are some common grounds that you said that we worked out those differences?
I mean, I think like in a lot of ways, like we just like we'd known each other for so long, like we got along really well.
Sometimes.
I mean, like in general, like I mean, like we thought like we were actually related. But it's kind of funny, like but like we would spend a lot of time together outside of class. Like it's like and like I didn't really care a lot. I classes were classes. And like it was fun to like see friends in my classes. Like I remember Miss Clayton's class, the English class. It was junior year.
It was junior. I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was senior. No, it was junior because that was the year that had like every class but one with Chris. No, 2, and we were next door to each other. Yeah.
Yep. It like that was a lot of fun. Especially with Miss Clayton.
Yeah, she was a blast. She was a blast. Yeah. Love that class. But
I mean, like we would see each other so much, like because like especially like before you started driving, we would like hang out
riding the bus
before school, like riding the bus. Oh God, I still can't believe it was me and you and Chris riding the bus to middle school with our instruments.
Yeah, that's paint a picture here. Very front seat of the bus. Like, you know how like school bus seats are? They're not that big.
Yes.
I play saxophone. Garrison plays flute. So that was easy to be able to fit in. Chris played trumpet, and then eventually played baritone for a little while. But in middle school, it was trumpet. And I had like a 30, 40 pound backpack that I carried all my books in. You had your backpack, and Chris had his backpack, which y'all didn't carry as much as I did because I was just a weird, crazy person. I had my lunchbox. Y'all ate school lunch for the most part. We're all crammed. All 3 of us are crammed in this one spot, like in this one tiny seat.
One seat.
And we did that for 2 years.
We did
2 years.
And I have no idea how that, like, we were all very small at the time.
Yeah.
Like, especially me. Like I've never been very large person.
Yeah.
And I was
we're compactable.
Very small.
We were all very tiny, compactable, and it worked out. But we each have different interests in life. Like you grew up in a more of a city kind of based area, more urban area. And I grew up in a more rural area, and I was into sports. You were big into history. And so we had these different bits of knowledge. And I'm not sure exactly how it worked out, but we learned from each other. Like we really did.
We did. Like, I remember in 3rd grade, like especially like when it's like sports have always been kind of like I can understand them and I follow them and I have fun.
Now,
like and sometimes I can get a little bit too into them. Like if I'm invested in the game, but like at the time, like I didn't like because neither of my parents were super into sports. But like I remember us like kind of like hanging out in 3rd grade, and like you were really into basketball at the time.
I was really big into Atlanta Hawks, Dikembe Mutombo, and Mookie Blaylock, Christian Laettner, and them were playing at that time in Atlanta. So it was a great season.
Yeah. And like we would just like share with each other. Like you would like talk about like all these like things. Like we'd look at basketball cards. Like I remember you had like a pretty nice collection of basketball cards.
I still have a lot of them. I haven't pilfered them in a while, but I still have them. Surprised like that are still there. They're probably not worth anything, but they're worth a lot to me. You were big into memories. You were big into. You turned me on to the Hardy Boys. I had You had like almost every single one of them, especially in hardback edition.
Yeah.
And you were also big into the history of Egypt. Like that was, you were big into that. And I remember we went to a couple of exhibits for that, of going and seeing that. And you would always share little bits of knowledge. So we kind of was able to kind of pick back and forth about teaching each other different things. Cause again, that was something I was never into growing up on a farm and, you know, having more worry about keeping up with learning about this, what's going on with the cows, learning how this is taking place, you know, going repairing a fence or something like that, or climbing over fences and playing in the woods. Like it just, that was my nature. That was what, and I didn't know there's other things in the world. What is Egypt? Like now I'm all about history, but at that time I didn't know what was going on, minus what we learned in school. Ironically enough, my mom taught me second grade geography. So
well, I actually really enjoyed your mom's like classes.
You had her as your second grade teacher, right? Or
well, no, I was in Miss Fowler's class.
We did have that class together. That year, that was one of the few years we were together.
We did, but your mom's social studies classes were a lot of fun. I remember. I'm
going to be honest. I'm going to go and put this out there, Mom. I don't remember any of your lessons you taught. I really don't. I remember once I have a couple weird memories of one student in class was not feeling well and like projectile vomited across the room. I remember that little things but I don't remember ever getting in trouble in your class though. In my mom's class, I don't remember ever getting in that. But yeah, one of those times. So yeah, it's just we somehow, I'm not sure how, but somehow we just kind of fed off each other and taught each other differently. Because I'm not saying I had street smarts, but I had more street smarts and you had more book smarts. And that's just going back. And you were at the time an only child at that point.
Yeah.
And I, being one of three siblings, was kind of used to, having other people around. So getting to kind of do stuff in different ways, I was like, oh yeah, just whatever, you'll adapt, you'll go along. So I think eventually we just kind of adapted to each other. Yeah. And I remember forcing you to play, you had a Super Nintendo before I had a Super Nintendo. And I remember we played a lot of Mario and a lot of, I forced you to rent sports games.
Yeah.
At sleepovers.
Yep. It was a lot of, back when you could rent, good old Blockbuster. You had to go to like Blockbuster or like, what was it? Macedonia Video.
Yeah. Macedonia. Yep. Exactly.
Oh yeah. We would play that. We would play like some racing games.
Yep.
Which was a lot of fun.
And you got a Game Boy before I got a Game Boy as well. So you were playing, I got to see a lot of other different technology and stuff that I never would have got to see and you got a computer before I did. So you knew a little bit more computer stuff. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of things that I got to be introduced to through you. And a lot of realms that I would have never, had the opportunity to until later. So it made my transition easier. Yeah. So you taught me a lot of those things. And I think it was you that actually got me into Pokemon. Like you got first into Pokemon, or I did.
Yeah, I think it was like we'd had and it was like I think we would spend a lot of time like playing it on like Game Boy
over the phone too. We played played Pokemon over the phone. Good old landlines here.
Yep. Like landlines, had to make sure like someone was had to call and see if someone was available. There's no texting.
Yeah, exactly. So we had little scheduled times that we would do stuff like that. Now I'm trying to remember, was it in elementary school? Was your first surgery that you had on your legs, or was that middle school?
No, it was like right after elementary school. Like it was right before I went to
okay, so it was the summer of 6th grade. We spent a lot of time together that summer.
Yeah, we
because
did.
Of you
and this next
because you couldn't do anything for the most part. You were stuck on a couch. I remember coming over and we would just watch movies. We would sit back and we would play games. We played a lot of Pokemon Stadium.
We
and things like that. Like that was what we and that I think that was another big bond, because of that transition between elementary school, middle school it's hard it's a lot of friendships get lost. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's
like, especially if you don't go to the same school.
exactly. And I think that was a big thing that summer really kind of helped us prepare to go into transition into middle school. I really think it did. That's my opinion. What do you think really kind of helped with that transition as well? Was there anything for you that you think made that our transition from elementary school to middle school easier? Well, for keeping friendship. Yeah.
It definitely helped that I mean, we were around each other all the time. We were at least going to we knew we were going to be in band together. So that I think that definitely helped me in middle school, because I know it's kind of a thing that a lot of people have some really rough years in middle school, but having you and Chris and Joe and Ed in in my friend group, even if I didn't see Chris or Ed as much, we were still friends, and we would hang out together. But especially you before hanging out with me that summer before. Yeah, because I mean I've not because I went to school out of district, I didn't have a lot of friends where I lived. That's never been a major source of friend groups. So so that I think I enjoyed having someone around a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more.
It does make a difference, because of some people, there were some communities that were around Macedonia where we were at, that were pockets where people could be able to ride their bicycles to, or be able to easily get in between. But we didn't have that. Neither of us didn't have that. That's another one of those bonds that just kind of made it easier for us to be able to connect, because we had to hold on to what we had.
Yeah. You were a farm kid, and I and I was
the urban,
very far away from everyone else. But even at that point where we were living in the same county, I'd moved to Cherokee County at that point, but I was still at the southern edge of Cherokee County.
Yeah, you were.
So it wasn't that much of a difference.
And you were still out of district though. Whenever you moved into the county.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you moved into the county, you still was middle school. You moved into the county. I think it was.
No, I think it was in fourth grade.
Oh yeah, no, it was really. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it was. But you were still not living near. You were living in another part of the county as well. That southern portion as well of the county. So you just get and walk around your neighborhood and know people already and connect, because you're not going to see them at school.
No. But I think it's also kind of helped me, because it's I just enjoy having friends where I have them. I don't have to have friends right next door to me all the time. I can maintain relationships longer distance, even if it is not especially I think as I get older, it's harder, but it's still it's something that I'm still able to do.
True. And entirely you're able to do, and I think that's a skill that we're lucky to have. That is a skill that we learned. And a lot of people per se don't have some of those same skills until they get older and have to learn that skill. We had it at an early age, that being separated from a lot of people and stuff like that it made us be able to bond for there. And then, so band, we've said band 2 or 3 times already. I think being band kids as well really helped our friendship blossom, because we did see each other a lot as a result of that, being band kids as well. There's a couple more things that we'll discuss here in a moment about how our friendship still blossomed from middle school to high school, in high school. But I think band really was that something that kept us close, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Like, even though we were never in the same section.
Yeah, you abandoned the woodwinds. You abandoned the woodwinds to go be a percussionist. Come on.
I'm gonna bang on things. Like, that's like, it's a lot more fun. Not I joke. I actually did enjoy like playing flute.
You did that during concert band sometimes.
I did. Like, and it, like, there's a lot I appreciate about it. Like, I'm nowhere near as talented as like my husband Colby is, but like I like, it's been a long time, but I enjoyed playing flute, and I miss playing percussion as well.
You never stop playing percussion. Whenever in life, we're always tapping a beat. We're always having, some,
Yes,
but
that is true.
But band, I think, was really important just because of that fact of it was more time being spent together that was at school and after school within groups of people that you had to go through situations in order to kind of bond. Band camp, you had practices before school, practices after school. You had events that were taking place. And if I didn't have a good athletic bone in my body to be able to play sports, but if I played sports and you were in band, our paths would have gone different directions. I really think in finding clubs made a difference.
Yeah. And like, we still like did have like our own things, but like, I think band was a really, like, it was also very helpful for like putting more of a community together for like both of us. Like,
it allowed for
like
individuals,
a good friend group. Which, like, you would think that adding more people into the equation would potentially like water down our relationship, but I don't, like, it didn't. Like, it just made it like more, like, it made it richer.
Yeah, because we weren't reliant upon each other. We had our own pockets of friends within band, but it still allowed us to, at the same time, realize we do have this central thing in common. We got a break from each other at some points because of dealing with high school. We rode to school together. Like we rode to school together. We saw each other a lot because we would ride to school. And if there was a band practice or something, we'd hang out after school before going to band practice. That was some good times of, I don't know if you've told your mom this or not, or if I've told your mom or my mom. Remember whenever you used to get gas money for driving to school, that we would stop in and buy lottery tickets, like scratch off tickets, like, or we would use that money to go like eat somewhere, like.
Like it wasn't all of the money, but yes, like we would, I mean, we would, like,
when the gas was cheap. When the gas was expensive, I was like, I need the money because of my I was getting 8 to 9 miles to the gallon in my big blue truck. I love that truck, but that thing had a warm heater. Ooh, that thing had a warm heater. You fell asleep a lot. There was a lot of slobber on that side of the car, of the truck, where you would sleep up against the side of the window and just drool on that window.
Oops.
Yeah.
But speaking of things that I like actually really like, a memory that I actually really kind of cherish is like our freshman year, we would have band practices in like the later afternoon on Monday. I'm not really sure why. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But
I think because it was so hot. I think they do it in the evening because it wasn't as hot. Or we were able to get field time. Maybe we were able to get field time. I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably a field time issue because, of course, it was.
Sports ball.
But we would
sports ball.
Sports ball. I remember we would hang out with each other, like either go to like Sonic across the street or like Pizza Hut, like especially like Pizza Hut.
There was another one. There was a bigger one than that. Do you remember it?
Which one?
Walk and Roll, baby.
Oh yeah, Walk and Roll.
We ate a lot of Walk and Roll.
I mean, Walk and Roll was right there, like next to the Pizza Hut. But we would also go and visit your grandma.
Yep. I
But
loved going and visiting my grandma. That
it
was
was so much fun.
so much fun. Like that, yeah, that was getting that walk. It was a walk to get down there.
It was yeah, it was a bit of a hike. It was at like it was about a mile each way.
Yeah.
Like,
If not
but
more.
it was fun. Yeah, if not more. And there wasn't a sidewalk,
No,
so
there was. Yeah, there was. There was a sidewalk.
well, not the whole way.
Yeah, not the whole way, but
because
the majority of it, there was a sidewalk.
yeah, because because I remember like we had to walk through like some tall grasses.
Yeah, they hadn't started
like,
building that part of the sidewalks and stuff yet in place. They hadn't fully finished that.
And I got a tick. Thankfully, it didn't bite me, but I definitely found a tick on
a city child of, oh, I got a tick on me, I'm gonna die. Sorry. Okay. I had ticks and stuff all the time, so I always had to look for those things.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, oh, well, it got caught in my leg hair, so it did not.
You are a very hairy man, Garrison. You're a very hairy guy.
It could not bite me.
Another one of those ones that connected to special freshman, sophomore year kind of after school things was we used to go bowling every Friday. There was like a 2-hour bowling for like $5, $6, $7.
It was so cheap.
Yeah. And a lot of us, we would go down there and we would go bowling for the 2 hours. And sometimes we would do that before football games. That would be how we would kill time. And then we did that sometimes without that as well. We would just go bowling. That was another one of those strong. And it's funny, later in life, we actually bowled together in a bowling league together. We did for a little while.
And we did really well.
We did. Even though we got to the finals and we totally had to both miss it. And so we did the bowl in the finals.
But we still got like what, third place?
Yeah, we dropped all the way down to third. But it's still third place out of like 20 something teams. It's pretty legit.
For completely missing the last game, like that's pretty impressive. Like it was fun. Yeah. Like
who knew
you were definitely carrying us, but I still had a lot of fun.
We were just having fun. We yelled at each other a lot too doing that. That was, I think, if we're not yelling, if we're not yelling or bickering about something, then we're not having fun. That's just you and me. Like that's how you know we're doing well. Oh, they're really enjoying what they're doing because they're yelling at each other. Like,
yes. Like, what did you do that for?
What are some other like high school memories that you have kind of just because again, we have elementary school, we had our bonding, we had our middle school bonding, we had our high school bonding. What are some other ones that you think of? Just some fun high school stories.
Like high school stories.
If you're thinking for a second, I can fill you. I can make while you're thinking, I could tell a couple stories if you want me to.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a story, go tell it. Like I was kind of thinking about the one time we went up to your aunt's cabin.
Oh, yes.
Like with Dakota. Like that was a lot of fun. Like I mean, it was like we just decided, like I think it was our senior year. And like I'd known Dakota like for a while, like known him from middle school, but didn't really like know him like sophomore year. That's what it was. We couldn't drive. Like our parents had to drop us off, and it was like dropped us like left us like a cooler of stuff and
back in the woods, like, the Blue Ridge Mountains, just like back at this cabin,
back in the woods. Next to this like
nice creek,
ice cold creek. Like we're just like hanging out, like talking about like the Beatles. I think we watched like something about the Doors. On TV.
We didn't have TV. We all had was VHSs there because there was no cable back there.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, like I remember it was like no cable, but like
we didn't need it back there.
Pop that in. And I got to know Dakota really well.
Yeah, that was a good fun one. And do you remember what happened? There was spring break. Do you remember the rarity that took place while we were on that trip that has not happened in a long time on all the way up into April? Do you remember something special happened when we were at the drive-in theater?
At the drive-in?
Yep.
Like
we were watching the movie. And all of a sudden it starts snowing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
It was
That's
April
right.
and it was snowing. Because the
In
temperature
Blue
dropped
Ridge.
and it was supposed to be warm, and that whole week it was kind of cold, and then it started
Yeah,
snowing at the
it was
drive-in.
very cold,
Yeah, it was
but
really
it was
it was
fun.
fun. Yeah, it was a great one. That we're able to do that. That was a good one of my favorite memories that I'm going to go ahead and throw out from
Mhm.
high school is this goes back to band. We played football outside a lot in between
Yeah.
waiting to have either the football game starting or being at practice, waiting for practice to start, or waiting to go at band festivals, or out somewhere. A lot of the band kids, we
Mhm.
played football. Seems kind of weird. They wait,
Mhm.
why the band kids playing football when they're going to football? No, we didn't. We legitimately played tackle football.
We're kids in we're kids in Cherokee
Exactly.
County.
We played legit football, and Garrison is, again, this is where it comes back to that story of it's hard to get Garrison down because he has a low center of gravity and he can be able to move really well. And so if he's tackling you because he's a low center of gravity, he could hold on to you. And if he couldn't get you down, he would slow you down till someone else come over and lay you out. Like, and I
Yeah.
remember clear as day, just Garrison being like I was tiny and and scraggly and just being drug along. I would get drugged, but we would be considered very important because we would slow people down so other people could hit them. Like that was our role.
Yep. And we thankfully we played with like some people who were a lot bigger than
Yeah,
us.
it was. But I just remember that was always just so fun getting out there, and you would never imagine either of us really being good at football, but it didn't matter about being good. We were having fun.
A lot of fun.
And that's, I think, one of the biggest smack talking things started to really kind of blossom out a little bit more with you and me, Garrison, just the smack talking between the drummers and the woodwinds and people that would kind of play together whenever we did football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I've ever like I don't think I really understood smack talk before I was in like the drum line.
Yeah, that
Like
really brought in a whole nother perspective for you. Brought in a whole nother world.
like in their case, like the stereotypes kind of held true.
Yeah, for some portions,
but it was a lot of I but the different group of people.
Yeah.
But we also had fun. Like we also like we started moving to ultimate frisbee.
Yes.
Because like
we got kicked off the lawn for actually breaking some 2 or 3 people's bones on that, and so we had to move to something else, and so we moved to ultimate.
You can't do that.
Yeah, ultimate frisbee picked up. That was a good one. Yep. You had a good wrist. You could throw pretty far. Like,
yeah. I remember also having to like climb up on top of the school.
Yeah, you were a very good monkey climber. Very good monkey climber.
To get the frisbee.
Yeah.
So that was.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Fun little memories here.
It's like, yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. Oh well.
Yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, life goes on.
Whatever.
So high school comes to an end. Continuation of your IQ being a lot better than mine. You went to the University of Georgia right out of high school. I did not go to the University of Georgia until a year and a half later because of my IQ score. I'm not a good test taker. I'm a really terrible test taker. No. You're a really good test taker because you're just, you're smart. But how do you think that transition into college, when you going off to University of Georgia, I wound up going to Georgia Highlands. I don't think many people from our group went to the University of Georgia with you, did they?
No, like I knew a couple of people like TJ and Kate Adams, who actually lived in my dorm like freshman year. Other than that, no. Yes, the other Kate. But no, like he like I mean, but I didn't hang out with anyone from Cherokee County. Like I was like active in the BCM, and no one else from Cherokee County was there. So it like kind of developed a group of friends there.
So how did we somehow, I don't know, how did we stay together before me moving over there? What do you remember?
Well, I mean, we were still like talking to each other. Like we weren't calling each other because like cell phones you pay by the
Yep.
minute. And like we occasionally text each other and like when we got like Facebook, but also like I mean, I would come home like when I would come home for breaks, like we would have like we would hang out or like we would have
The bonfires
bonfires up
began. Like
like
senior year, bonfires
bonfires.
began. Those were fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we like it wasn't ever really like I don't know like I don't think I was ever really afraid of like losing you as a friend like cuz I mean I think like going back to what we were talking about earlier like we've been in different spaces like lived in different places for a lot of our lives but even if we did see each other a lot so I don't think it really changed like I mean I think it might have like changed our relationship in that like we weren't seeing each other all the time so like we'd have to like catch each other up on
Yeah.
things but it wasn't ever I didn't feel like we were like becoming different people like I know that happens for some people like um it didn't feel like that for us like um and like again we were like we would hang out and I remember one time you and my mom drove to Athens to pick me up. I think it was for Christmas break or something. And I think y'all got lost getting down there or something. I can't like I honestly can't believe she actually drove to Athens. Like that is
She
like
didn't drive. I drove
can't.
down there.
Oh, you
I drove down there.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, because I cannot see my mom driving.
But the one that you're
to
thinking
Athens.
of getting lost is Matt,
Oh no.
Chris,
Yeah,
Bobby,
Matt.
me, and I think in Z, we went the
Yep.
wrong way because we didn't. Again, this is before GPSs really were popular and anything like that.
Yep.
And having it didn't have it on your phone. You had to have a box. We didn't have a box. We had a map, and we kept driving. And Matt was playing a video game. I was driving, and I go, Matt, tell me directions of where to go because you have the map. Yeah, I got you covered. Turn here, turn here. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, I don't feel like we're going the right way because I have a sense of direction, but because I've never been to Athens, driving, I had been there like visiting for 4-H, but I'd never actually like driven there or been there. It was at night whenever we were on the buses. I was like, hey, I feel like we're going the wrong direction. And I feel like something's wrong. And this is the joke stays with us now to this day of, you've gone the wrong way if you see Stone Mountain. Next thing we know, over the hill, there's Stone Mountain. And I'm like, I knew. And then we turned to a giant argument. We were supposed to go see Across the Universe. We were supposed to meet you to go see Across the Universe. We didn't make it to any of those showings.
No, like it was such a mess.
Yeah, it was a giant mess. But we got there. But you were
of course we were like arguing with each other the entire time.
The whole way. Because we called you a couple times saying, hey, we're going to be a little late. We don't know where we're at, blah, 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 blah. And someone be in the background saying, yeah, we know where we are, blah, 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 blah. But
it's I remember you saying on the phone, like, yeah, like it was like, we know we've gone the wrong way if we see Stone Mountain.
There was a lot of cursing. There was a lot of cursing that took place once it happened. Matt, I know you're listening. It's your fault. I blame you. I know everyone else is going to say it's not. I blame you, Matt. I blame you for playing a video game. I think you were playing Alice in Wonderland, the Alice in Wonderland game, still trying to get further along on it and reading a map at the same time. We should have given the map to somebody else. But
you're not paying attention.
I will say this, Garrison. If you did not go to the University of Georgia, I never would have gone to the University of Georgia. Wherever you were going to went for college. Oh yeah. I had no intentions of going. I had no idea where I was going with school, what I was doing. The moment you went to the University of Georgia was the moment I decided I had to get to the University of Georgia. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that. That's like, I'm really glad you did because even though I did have I like did develop a friend group. I was very happy like when you and Chris and Z and finally Ed like made it to Athens.
Yeah.
Like
we had some good times in
fun.
Athens.
So
we
much
had
fun.
some good times. We'll leave it at we had some really good college experiences through
Yes,
through college by living up that way. And then ultimately it did lead to furthering our friendships in different directions that continue to this day, that we've bonded over. Of sometimes it dealt with some people getting really hurt. Sometimes it being having to make medical decisions really quickly in order to someone to be able to live. You create that kind of that bond that way. Sometimes we're inflicting pain on each other, and but little
intentionally
moments,
and unintentionally.
Exactly. But those little moments like that force you to really, if you don't trust that person, you're not going to make it. Like you have to have full trust in somebody. And I feel like we've always had that trust of, okay, Garrison, I can say, Garrison, you really want to do this? Like you could say, hey, we're going to go jump off something. I could say, yeah, we're going to do this. It's going to be safe. And you're going to go, okay, because we trust each other in that realm of, if you think it's safe, then I think it's safe because I trust you. Like I will put my life in your hands. And we did a lot.
We did. Like there was one specific time that I remember, like it was after we graduated high school, when we went on that like mini road trip, like the longest
world's longest yard sale.
Yeah. And coming back, we decided to stop at like what was it, Little River Falls. Me, you, Ed, and Chris. And I do not like heights. Like I'm like not, I wouldn't say deathly afraid of heights, but I do not like them. But for whatever reason, like everyone was like, we're gonna jump off these falls.
Ed went first, then Chris, then me.
Of course Ed went first. But I was definitely last, that I was finally like, okay, like I like I've got to do this. Like it's gonna happen.
Were shaking pretty hard.
I was not happy.
You went butt first, which was not smart either.
I mean, it really wasn't that bad. Like it didn't hurt anything, thank God. But it was like it was fun. Like climbing up out of that
was nerve-wracking.
Not like I was, but especially since we were climbing like completely
freeform climbing,
like freeform, like we were bouldering. But we made it and we were fine.
A lot of trust. They had to say, hey, you got to put your foot there. If you don't put your foot there, you're not going to make it. You need to trust me that your foot's going there. And
put your hand here.
Exactly. Trust me. You need to reach out, grab my hand. I will pull you over.
And it's a lot of trust.
A lot of trust. That's the one thing that I think a good friendship builds on trust. Even if you know that maybe, even if you know that there's the possibility that it could fail, but you have to trust that person, if it does fail, is going to take the blame for it and is going to take care of you if it messes up. Like they're going to be honest. They're not going to blame you, saying you messed up, it's your fault, whatever kind of, or abandon you. So getting back into college, I go away for my senior year. Half of my last semester of school, I am in Ireland. I disappear to Ireland, and I come back, and I had not been dating in my middle school. I had like a girlfriend for a little while, but really didn't like date. It's middle school relationships. Middle school. High school, I didn't date. High school, you didn't date. College, I did some dating apps like my junior year, which was terrible. But I really didn't date. I never really dated more than like one date out here and there. I came back and I was dating my now wife. When I came back, did you see a change in our relationship at all when my now wife was added into the picture, did you feel threatened? Did you feel like, because a lot of relationships sometimes get crashed whenever someone starts dating or gets married?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't ever really think that you were the kind of person to kind of like drop like your friends like in like preference for like your like significant other, so like it and it helped that like when I actually like got to meet Katie, like it wasn't like she was fine, like she was cool, and like it's kind of that like trusting your friend's judgments. Like if they had like I trusted like your judgment, like she was good for you, and like I was happy for you. like like that's really cool. Like you had to go to Ireland to find
Yeah, I did.
like someone. Granted, she's from Ohio.
Yeah, another story for another day.
Another day. But I trusted you to like know someone who is good for you, and I think she is. I think you'll have a great relationship, and I think like she was a great addition to the group. Like she's got her own perspective. She doesn't she doesn't mind like she enjoys like she doesn't mind our stupidity, like, but she does enjoy, like she seems to enjoy our group. Like I don't know why we're nuts.
In the words of one of our good friends, we just kind of went around picking up strays. we're a group of ragtag people. We just around. Oh yeah, you need something? Here, join our group.
And you've always been a major part of that. Like you like I think you're like the like kind of impetus behind a lot of that. Like making like kind of binding our group together. I
appreciate those kind words. Those are very nice words.
Yeah. Like, I mean, in case you haven't noticed, like with like Cade likes friends, he likes relationships, he likes family, and it's a major theme of your life.
Yeah, it is.
I think
relationships are the most important thing to me. Like if you're a friend of mine, I consider you like family. That's and if you investing time into somebody, it really, if you give it your all, they're going to give you their all back. That's kind of my opinion that it goes to it. Now, something that this blew my mind in our friendship here. This was something that it completely somehow went under the radar. Somehow did not make sense. I did not pick up on this. When I got back from Ireland, we were all sitting back on the back porch at the apartment y'all were living at, and you call everybody over. We're all sitting there. We're all talking. Go, hey, I got something really important I need to say. I'm like, okay. We're like, okay, what's kind of going on? What's, is somebody dying? Is something weird happening? Like, what's going on? So it was really kind of that awkward moment of like, what's about to happen? And we're all sitting there, and you go, so like, okay, like all of us are sitting there. You go, so I'm gay. And I'm like, okay, like cool, like whatever, you're gay. But then my brain settled in of like, wait a second.
What?
You're gay. How did I not know this from like, and I've like, I've known you our entire lives here. How did I not pick up on any signs? How did you hold that in for as long as you did and not really tell anybody? And that's of our group. None of us knew.
Yeah.
It never changed anything, but it was just one of those things that it was just very interesting that none of us ever even guessed it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, because I did it, like I tried very hard to hide it. Like that's the reason. It's it's one thing that like I got very used to like play like just kind of like masking things, and like developed a fairly good poker face. Like not necessarily in poker. Poker is a different story.
You're
but
terrible
like,
at poker. Sorry.
I'm not very
Terrible
good
at
at poker, but but I like a lot of my like internal stuff. Like I don't verbalize a lot of like how I feel or like what I think about things like very easily.
Not unless you're in a heated argument.
Very internal. Like, well, then I'm just yelling at you. But like like it takes a lot to get that, like to get the going. So it like how did you not see it? It's just like, I mean, I think you're like, I'm not sure there was much to see. Like I never really tried to date anyone. Like I did go like to prom like with one girl for a bit, and like that was not really going to work for a lot of reasons beyond the fact that I'm gay. Like and like it was just kind of like meh. And I didn't really feel the need to date anyone. Like I didn't there was no one who was like I wasn't interested in dating like girls, and there weren't any guys that I was like made me like think like, yeah, I want to date them, like I want to change how things are going. And like so I didn't, like, and I just, it wasn't a big deal for me. Like, oh, well, I shouldn't say that. It was a big deal, but I like pretended like I could, like it wasn't a big deal, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And being in the South at that, not saying that it's easier now. It's harder
Yes.
to say, okay, it's harder if you put yourself out there back when we were in high school and it did not reciprocate and they kind of went in a negative fashion. It could have really been mentally terrible on some people, be able to handle that. Yeah. And they, now I'm not saying it's easier now, but you're able to at least somewhat, people are more open about it. They're more putting themselves out there. So you can be able to figure out who is and who isn't out of the closet and things like that.
Yeah.
That's a weird term, using that term. I wonder how that term came about, of coming out of the closet. That's just a weird term. I don't know. That's like maybe something for another day. Yeah. I don't know. This is a weird thought.
I mean, coming out, like originally, like the like terms of coming out, like was about like actually had to do with like ballroom culture, like that kind of like debutante, like coming out, like as like you're on the scene. It was only later that it became like associated with like a closet metaphor. But yeah, like I do think it is like easier in a lot of ways, because I think there was one out gay kid at church.
Yeah, there was less than a handful.
Yeah. And like there are a lot of kids there and like very few out. Yeah. Most of whom were in like theater, which I mean we did hang out with them a lot because theater and band kids.
And yeah, Chris was our connection. But yeah, the band and drama kids did mingle amongst. Now, yes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm sure you're aware of this, but if not, I have to go ahead and say it here. I got really jealous whenever you moved away to Des Moines and really like was dating Colby, now your husband. I got really jealous because of you were gone. Like you weren't as readily available because of I had got back. I had a really bad situation where I moved away and things went really bad. And so I was mending. I was healing from my incidents. And I got home. Everybody was still majority here. And the moment that you started dating and you go, hey, I'm going to move. I mean, that hit me hard because of you were the major rock when I got back from my incident that took care of me, like besides my wife, obviously. But you were always over. You were always staying with me. If I felt like I was uncomfortable or I felt like something was going south, I could always go, hey, Garrison, I need to meet up. We need to do something. You were my rock. And so I remember whenever we drove to Des Moines and I left you there and flew back home, that was extremely hard for me to leave, to get on that plane and come home. Like, we cried before we departed, obviously, but I cried getting onto that plane and getting home until I got back to my house. I cried the entire time because it was a different part of my life that I wasn't ready to comprehend yet. And so when you left, that was, I got really envious and I got angry for a little while about it. I will admit that. But I was so happy that you found somebody and that you were getting and finding yourself and that you were becoming it. But I will admit, we all have our jealous moments. That was a very jealous moment for me.
Yeah. Like, you can't help the way you feel. Like, and it was a major, like, it was the biggest change in our relationship yet, like, and still is, I think. Like, the fact that everything else, going to different schools for a while, like me being in Ukraine, like, these are all, like, they were never permanent, like, or at least like there was always an end date. But this is like, it's a very, like, and it's still weird for me because like we were always doing stuff together.
I mean, constantly. If you could count 52 weeks out of a year, at least 40 to 45, we are doing at least 2 to 3 things a week that we were doing. Like, just what it was.
Like, I can't, like, that's crazy. And I can't imagine doing that. Like, no, like, I can't, not that I wouldn't want that, because I know, like, if I lived in Georgia again, like Cherokee County, like, it would, like, we would be like hanging out with each other constantly. But like the idea of like doing that with anyone else is like, I have a very hard time thinking of that, like,
because of the stuff we'd done in the past, because those experiences, because that threshold of pain, threshold of stuff that we've gone through, it helped establish that relationship to be able to continue long term. And I think virtual too, with COVID and stuff, and all these, with COVID hit, doing more realization of Zoom and Teams and things like that that are available has really helped continue our relationship with when y'all came up with doing the game nights that we've been doing on Saturday nights. Those have been, that's been our continual of our relationship here. Is that's kind of our new phase here. Because whenever you move to Iowa, and I've been able to seen you for 2 years now. The last time I saw you was, I think it was a month before the world closed.
Yep. Yeah, because y'all came up to
the bachelor party
with us, like, for like the like the bachelor weekend, like, and like got to like have fun, and then like, a couple of weeks later, everything is like,
it's closed. But we had our we had our little hurrah, we did our stuff. But I'm still angry that I have not been able to give my best man speech. I'm upset about that. And I now cannot find my best man speech that I wrote. So I'm going to have to write a new one whenever this eventually does get to actually because I'm saying a speech. If we're out somewhere, like, I'm giving a speech, even though y'all are already married, I'm giving a speech, man. It is my God-given right.
That's fine.
As your best man.
Like, I've known you too damn long.
Oh man. Yeah, that's part of our, and you sang at my wedding, which was super cool. Like, that I didn't know was going to happen. Like, we're sitting there, like, my wedding was a different type of wedding, which one day we'll kind of get to maybe talk a little bit about. But that was a super neat experience of, you got to have a little moment there that I never knew was coming, getting to have that kind of taking place. Because that was a transition point for my life was changing, that you were a part of, and we got to see yours virtually, which was amazing to see that. But I think it's just important for all these. Oh, go for it.
Real quick. No, I was just saying, like, a real quick, like
Yeah, it was.
short notice wedding. Like, oh, by the way, we're getting married.
But no, these moments over the years have really kept our bond together, and that's why I've enjoyed doing this podcast right here. Is for myself, for you, for our listeners out there. Is you never know what's going to impact a relationship, and this is a beautiful piece that I've been blessed to have this relationship my entire life. You can have this relationship that you can create with somebody. It could be a year, it could be 2 years of impactful moments that's gone into place. But I wanted to share this one because it is something that has been in my life since I've been alive. I've been around that. And I wanted to share that you can be able to, any of these moments that we've discussed today, that could be a foundation. That could be the start of a relationship. And I encourage anyone to, if it's a coworker, if it's a neighbor, if you're a child of one of our listeners or a child listening to this podcast, I don't know the age groups of people listening. I encourage you starting the conversation with, it could be anything. You can be a joke, kind of like with me and Garrison here. I slapped him in the face with a sand pie. It could be a serious moment of, hey, I need your help with something. You could be asking, but you never know unless you engage with that person, what that relationship can become. And you're going to go through several different points in your life that we've discussed here that can either make a relationship or end a relationship, but you have to choose to continue to want to have that relationship and put that time into it. And it's okay if it goes away for 5, 10, 2 or 3 years, 2 days, whatever. You get angry at that person, you find a way to settle it out. That's what I think makes a relationship grow through those mishaps and those struggles and those arguments and sometimes those fist fights and things like that really can make a difference. Garrison, do you have any recommendations for how to maintain friendships that you want to share with the audience?
Doing things together, like regardless of like whether you're like close together or not, like you don't have to have like long in-depth conversations, like or like specifically set out to do that. If you're around each other and you're doing things together, if it's like watching things that you like watching wrestling or like you're building memories together, and like even if it's not like it's like it doesn't have to be like super deep, but sometimes you can have deep conversations like while like wrestling is on in the background, because we've had that. I think like being around each other, like doing things with each other, like being open. Honestly, like you never know. Like there's so many things like we don't know like what we're going to like, and if you trust your friend like to like not take you into something that will like
trust
really bother you, then you can have great experiences together and you can grow together. It's like being willing to like open yourself up to that. Trust is paramount.
Or hold a grudge over it for the rest of your life. Sorry. Or both. You never know. Is there anything last minute that you want to share with the audience that you want to say that perhaps I didn't bring up?
No, I think this has been just a great kind of like tour through the like the craziness of our friendship.
PG version. There could be a R NC-17 version that's out there. But this is a very common. I think it's important to realize within a friendship that it could be anywhere. It could be anything that's kind of out there for it. And I say for sure that with seeing the yin to the yang, not saying for sure yin to the yang, but from Eden's conversation from the beginning, because her episode is the one before yours, to listen to this one now, each relationship's different. It doesn't have to be, it could be male, female, female, male, 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 whatever on your relationships. that you have.
Yeah.
I am happy that our listeners are getting to learn a little bit more about me and also learn more about my relationships. And maybe they can be able to pick up something from that to be able to grow. And I'm glad that this maybe give both of us a little bit more clarity of our friendship, because each time we talk, there's a little bit more. If any of y'all are curious and want to dig a little deeper, we did a StoryCorps recording, which is in the National Archives, that you can be able to search up and find as well. I recommend you and a friend going to StoryCorps, sitting down and doing, I think it's 45 minutes that you're given that can be stored. You can be talking about anything really with them. You register and you can go down and record depending upon the location of where they're at. So I recommend doing that. Ours was about friendship.
Yeah. Just have a conversation with each other.
We are human beings. That is just kind of the nature of it. And I want to say thank you, Garrison, for the friendship, relationship, brotherhood, you name it, going down the line here. I could use words for hours on what really we have here. And I feel like as a nation that we need to say thank you more often, and also to a person of an individual around you that you really care about. A lot of people misconstrue, misunderstand the words "I love you." Like, I love you is a very powerful term, but if you mean it and you enjoy it, like I feel like that is something that you need to share with an individual, of saying, "I love you." It doesn't have to be held towards a marriage. Friendship, that is the biggest sign of love, that you're spending time with somebody. That is the best gift you can give. So I want to say, Garrison, like, I love you. Thank you for everything. And thank you I can't wait to see what more our friendship continues to blossom as we get older. And hopefully at 90 years old, we'll be yelling at each other in old folks home, Here's
to 30 more years and many more. But no, thank you so much for having me. And I always will love you, Kate.
As you all head out today, thank you for coming and listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, tell a friend. I am on any platform that has podcasts to listen from. I'm on Twitter. You could be able to search up Learning from Friends podcast or Learning from Friends. It should come up that way. On Twitter, I have a Facebook page as well called Learning from Friends. That'll pop up. You can email me at Cade, which is CADE, at learningfromfriends.com. I may not respond immediately, but I'll get back to you if you have a question or something as well. Please be kind and courteous to others around you. If you send or make comments on my page or anything, be kind and courteous to others. But most of all, the most important thing that I like to say before I leave out here is to remember to let your curiosity fly high. This is Cade Curtis with Learning from Friends. I will catch you on the flip side.